from A Weeks 10. He says, what is the best way to read defensive coverages in Madden 25? Man, zone, cover 2, 3, 4.
So we'll take a look at the other Xbox here. And really, guys, reading defensive coverages is all about looking at the safeties. And this is something that's going to carry over from year to year. You know, last year they did a lot with disguised coverages. I'd personally like to come out in a passing style play.
Right.
I think that coming out in a passing play is huge. So as we can see here.
Come out in the shotgun normal.
Okay, so I'm going to come out on shotgun normal. This is from my favorite playbook. I like
we're going to switch up the Xbox. Just switch to the other Xbox, and so that way we can get. So we have the.
So when you're looking to read defensive coverages, it's all about coming out in a formation that you're comfortable with. And personally, you're going to always want to go, in my opinion, with something that has a corner route built into it. So I'm going to go with this play Bucks tight end option, just because I feel like it's going to give me every play that I need, and I know that I'm going to have good audibles that are built in around it to allow me to beat any defense that I see. So here I can tell that all 4 guys are back. So it's pretty obvious to me that this is going to be like a cover 4 style coverage.
Correct.
And the reason I know that is because I see the 2 safeties in the middle of the screen are deep, both Spillman and Whitner. And then the cornerbacks, if they were up, it would be more of like a 2-man under or a cover 2. But since they're back, I know that they're in deep zones, and I know that that means cover 4. Cover 4 means that there's 4 zones deep. So if you show it, you'll see the 4 blue zones on the outside. I know that it's going to be cover 4. That's going to give me access to the flats. It's going to give me a little bit of access over the middle of the field. So that's where I'm going to want to attack when I see a cover 4. However, when the next type of coverage comes up, I know that this is going to be a cover 3 because there's only one safety in the middle of the field. Spillman is the safety that I'm reading in the middle of the field right now. And once again, the corners are back. I know that they're in deep zones. There's 3 deep zones. I know it's cover 3.
Right. Well, you're not 100% sure it's cover 3. You know of specific defense it could be.
Because it could be cover 1 or cover 3. Because if it was cover 1 man, then those 2 guys would be in man-to-man coverage.
Or cover 0.
Cover 0, but with cover 0, they're going to tend to line up a little bit more over.
Right.
So that's not a super common situation, but yeah, you do want to look out for that. But that's going to typically be a cover 3. Now the other type of thing you're going to see is cover 2 and 2-man under. So with cover 2 and 2-man under, it's going to look the same, which is what Gibbs was saying here. So this is cover 2 or 2-man under. Show 2-man under. Notice how the position of the defenders is not going to change when you audible to 2-man under. So the defenders are still in the same position. So when I see this coverage, I see 2 safeties high. I see the Spillman, once again, in the top left is going to be in a deep zone. So he's, one reason that I think it's cover 2, and then the Whitner here. So that's how I know. There's 2 safeties high, so I know it's either cover 2 or 2-man under. And all I have to do is determine, are they in zone or are they in man? And you can't really do that until after the snap. Your gut can kind of tell you what they're in. Your gut can give you a good idea of, okay, here's the play they're calling. But how I determine that is I'm going to call 4 verticals. I'm going to audible Lacey to a halfback option. And basically what I'm going to do is look and see if the defenders on the outside follow their man or if they let him go. So give me cover 2. So right now I wouldn't know before the snap, but I just know that it's either cover 2 or cover 2 man. And what I do is I key in on Nelson or Cobb, and if they get let go by the flat zone, because the flat zone's not going to run with them all the way down the field, I'll know that I can throw it out to the sideline with 4 verticals because I'm running 4 guys deep, and you only have 2 guys deep in a cover 2.
Math, people, math.
Get open. So what I'm looking for at the snap of this ball when it's cover 2 or 2-man under is this guy going to let Nelson go? Yes, he presses him, but then he lets him go. I know that this guy right here is playing half the field because he's in a cover 2, so he's got to split half the field, and there's 2 guys in his area, and I can make that throw.
Correct.
The next thing is if you call 2-man under, it's not going to be as easy because here's the problem. Those guys aren't going to get let go. So once again, we audible with a hot route to Eddie Lacy. We put him on an option route. I like to have him there to bail me out. And then we're going to see is Nelson going to let go or is Cobb going to get let go? They press. Nope, they're running with him. Okay, this guy's on a man-beating route. I'm going to look to him.
Check down.
Once you start to feel what your opponent is playing a lot of, if he starts to play a lot of 2-man under, so call 2-man under again, what you can do is you can mix in some out routes. So you could go with 4 verticals, or you could leave that, remember that corner route here, you can leave that so that you have that. You can put Cobb on an out, then you can put Lacey. So now I have 3 man beating routes on this play if he's playing a lot. I can hit the corner route on the right, I can throw the out, which you can also throw the out against cover 3. And then you can also throw the lacy route again. You could also put Cobb maybe on something like this. So if that starts to happen, you know what you can do. And there we go with the man-beating route. So you want to mix the man-beating routes. I know Gibbs' next playbook that's coming out in the winner's kit for all you guys that have it is loaded with man-beaters. So if you're having trouble beating 2-man under, we're going to have you all set. But those are some of the things I like to do depending on the plays. And whatever defense you have, you just need to have a formation that allows you to kind of spread it out, take a look, read the safety, get a good idea, and then have a play in mind to beat it. So here, if it's cover 3, I'd probably go with a concept like curl flats, which you can pretty much make a lot of good concepts by just using the hot route. So if you take a little bit of time and learn those using the skill trainer, it's pretty easy to figure out, what plays are going to beat it. That's why we spend a lot of time in practice mode making sure that we have a play in each formation or each playbook for every defense in the game.
All right, and guys, one thing I want to note here about when you're reading the defensive coverage is that this is not a perfect system because your opponent can do things to disguise things. This is the starting point of how you're going to read defense. But what we always talk, we say base align. So if your opponent does a Y coverage and then right on the D-pad, you're going to get a base align. And what that's going to do is now my defense looks the same no matter what type of play I'm in. So you might read this and be like, oh, he's definitely in cover 4. Boom, I'm in a cover 3 because I base aligned. Just note that. One small thing I'll tell you that you can recognize that they did base align is that look at where my corners are. Look where Brown is and look at where Rodgers is. Now, if I go back to that cover 4, not that time, but they actually slide in. See how they're sliding in at the reset? See how they slid out to the near sideline? That's a small tell. And you can especially tell it when you're in press coverage. Because if you do baseline and you're in press coverage and you're in zone, they're inside the receiver more. So that's a small tell that they're in zone coverage is if you see them inside of your outside receivers.
And you'll just start to feel it over time, and you'll know over the course of the game what people are doing. But yeah, that baseline tip is a big one. If they're baselining, they're going to line up a little bit more inside, and then you know that you have zone. So if you see that, then you know what to expect. I mean, you know that he's not going to press your guy because he's lined up inside. Usually when they do have man-to-man and you baseline, they're going to stay out wide right over the receiver. So just a very good note and something that will make that tip of just reading coverages, which is pretty basic and pretty football, is going to make it a little bit more advanced, for the advanced players that really want to keep an eye out and are really paying attention.
Right.
So
valuable tip right there to learn what those coverages are and the cover trees behind it.
So let's take a look.